What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and happy Saturday to all of you. I hope you all have an awesome weekend. In today's video, instead of doing the Saturday chat and chill like we normally would, I know, we're not doing the Saturday chat and chill. Calm down. But it's not my fault. Blame Netmarble for ending these events on a very, very odd day. In today's video, we have some very important events that are going to be ending, as well as the EX Volume 1 banners going away. So I wanted to take today as an opportunity to go ahead and give you guys a fair warning on all this stuff going away, like we normally do here on the channel with any of these events, because this is going to be the last few days for you guys to be able to do this. And by the time I'm able to get another video to you guys on Monday, all of this stuff will be gone. So we need to make sure that we talk about it and cover it in today's video. But before we go ahead and get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Cue that intro. Alright, you guys, in today's video we are going to be talking about several different events that are going to be ending over the weekend. We also are going to be seeing the end of the EX Volume 1 banners, so there is quite a bit of important information that we have to go over in today's video. And as you guys are going to see, there's going to be a lot of very important events that you are going to want to make sure that you take full advantage of over the weekend, so that way you guys aren't missing out on anything. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. First thing I want to go ahead and talk about is going to be the Rush Dungeon. So the Rush Dungeon is going to be one of the events ending over the weekend. This means that you guys, if you have not gone in and grinded as much of these coins as you want for the rest of the week, you are going to need to go ahead and do so pretty hard today. So what I mean by that when I say for the next week or so is, despite the fact that you guys are going to see that the Rush Dungeon is going to be ending this weekend, the Rush Dungeon Exchange Shop is not going to be ending this weekend. The Rush Dungeon Exchange Shop is actually going to be around for about a week after all these events end. So you guys are going to want to make sure that you pick up enough coins to be able to pick up whatever items in here you deem pertinent to your account. For me, the items that I'm picking up every day have definitely been the Elite Enhancement Hammers, the Rare Enhancement Hammers, and then I've also been picking up these Awakened Tier boxes for the Awakened Tier EX capsules 4 through 7. That's another thing that I've been picking up every day. And then the optional one for me every day has been these Plus Capsule mystery boxes. So in general, there is a lot of value in here for these different items for the next week. So you're going to want to make sure that you pick those up. Conversely, if you guys have not picked up the World of Destiny set, then you need to make sure that you do that as well. Now, these things are going to require quite a bit of grinding from you. However, I would definitely recommend that you at least pick up one set of this card set. This is an extremely good card set for the characters that can carry it. And in general, make sure, if you can afford to, that you pick at least one set of this card set up, because there is no guarantee that we ever see it rerun, and you guys are definitely going to want to make sure that you don't miss out on it. But with that being said, beyond the card set, make sure that you have enough coins for the rest of the week to be able to pick up whatever items in here that you deem pertinent, and that is going to be what you're going to need to know about the exchange shop here. Very, very important stuff, you guys, because this time around we had some extremely good items in here. So you're going to want to make sure that you get as much of this stuff as you possibly can, because this stuff will be going away in a week. So you'll be able to pick up quite a bit of it over the course of the next 7 days. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of these other events. So the Strongest Rival set, otherwise known as the Tower, is also going to be leaving. You guys are going to want to make sure that you finish this up if you haven't already done so. You only have the weekend to do that. There are some pretty good items in here. These items also feed into another event that we're going to be talking about ending over the course of the weekend. But in general, you guys want to make sure that you go in here and do this. While this thing wasn't as rewarding this time around as some of the past towers, it's still going to be very important that you get this done if you haven't already. So make sure that you guys do that and you'll be in pretty good shape. So that is going to be the Rush Dungeon, the Exchange Shop, and the Tower. The next thing we need to talk about is the Armada no Orochi event. So this guy right here has been kind of a subject of contention amongst the community for, you know, legitimate reasons. It's kind of a pain in the butt for some people if you don't have like an EX Kyo at Awaken level 5, so it can take a while. It's not like it's difficult, it just takes a while, right? So the reason why you would want to go in here and get this done, I've been doing this every day just so I can pick up these tickets here, because I have long since finished up on the crafting event that we will talk about. But the reason why you would want to do this beyond these tickets is because you're going to want to pick up these purple coins here. These guys here are important for another event that we'll briefly touch on here in today's video. But you guys want to make sure that you get this done each and every single day, and you want to make sure that you are doing this over the weekend if you haven't already done so, if you still need those purple coins. Otherwise, it's optional, because you don't really necessarily need to do it after you've accomplished what you need to in that crafting event. But in general, I would say that these tickets here are going to be worth it. But this is also going to be ending over the weekend as well. And that is pretty much going to do it for the events that are going to be ending, you guys. So that pretty much covers all those. One other aside here that I could throw in, because we are going to be talking about the banners next. EX Kyo's Codex will also be ending over the weekend. So if you guys are wanting to pick up any of these stones, for instance, if you're still planning on pulling, you need to make sure you do that. But we are going to be talking more about that here momentarily, because the next thing we need to talk about anyway is going to be the actual banners themselves. However, before we do that, one last thing I want to touch on. The Orochi Resistance crafting event will have an extra week or so, kind of like that Rush Dungeon exchange shop, for you guys to be able to go in here and craft these items. But do keep in mind that if you do still need to pick up things such as this card here, you are going to need to make sure that you are playing that Yamada no Orochi event like I had already mentioned, because you guys at least want to get one copy of this. I mean, this card here, it may or may not ever come back, and while it's not anything that is all that important, it is very, very strong when it comes to giving you CP boosts on your 3 Sacred Treasures fighters. So keep that in mind. This is another thing that you're going to want to make sure that you pick up if you haven't already done so. But beyond that, do keep in mind that as long as you have the resources to come in here and craft, you are going to have an additional week after this weekend is over and all these other events that we've talked about go away, kind of like the Rush Dungeon exchange shop like I mentioned. So that pretty much covers all the events. The last thing that we need to talk about here is, of course, going to be the banners. So when it comes to the banners, the first thing I want to talk about is going to be the cards, right? So we've talked about quite a bit here on the channel about the Successor set and why this is a card set you are going to want to invest in, at least get one set, because down the road, being that we now know we have confirmation that EX Volume 2 is going to be the next banner. I've already told you guys that the EX system is the future of the game, and basically what that means is this card set here is going to only gain more prominence over the course of the next several months to a year. So in general, what that means is you guys are going to want at least one set of this. So if you guys are capable, please try to at least attempt to get this, because this is a very important set going forward as we get more and more of these EX characters added into the game. When it comes to anything else in here, largely the rest of this stuff is going to come down to what you are doing as it pertains to the fighters. So in general, of course, you're going to want these finishers if you are planning on investing in the fighters themselves. So these are obviously going to be prerequisites to, if you're getting them, you're going to want these as well. But beyond that, when it comes to the option card, this is also going to be something that is optional, right? So this is going to be something that if you are going for Kyo, being that this is going to be a Kyo exclusive, this is another card that you may or may not want to invest in, depending on how highly you appreciate this new Kyo and whether or not you're planning on building him or you have built him. However, if you have built him, while this is not necessarily going to be one of those things that is an absolute must have, I would argue that you definitely would want it if you are planning on building up your Kyo, because that card is going to be very strong on him. But in general, that is pretty much going to be the cards on these banners. The biggest thing here that I would recommend is at least pick up the card set, because again, going forward in the future, this card set for the CP boost as well as the overall performance is probably only going to get better with age. So keep that in mind. Beyond that, it largely comes down to what you're planning on doing as far as investing on the fighters. So speaking of the fighters, we'll kind of go through here briefly. EX Kyo, one of the best DPSs in the game. At this point, arguably the best DPS in the game. He's right up there with the rest of the top DPS, if not better, depending on how you overinvest in him. This is a character that you are going to see a major amount of CP for if you want to fully max him out, fully invest in him. However, that isn't necessarily all that important right now because you really don't need a ton of CP, like 400,000 CP. In this game at this point for anything. So while it is a talking point, it isn't necessarily going to be a selling point, I would say. But in general, this EX Kyo ends up being one of the best characters right now for damage in the game. And if you guys want this character, again, you only have this weekend to invest in him. And I would highly recommend, if the next banner is going to be something that you are not as excited about as you would be with a Kyo, that you just go for the Kyo. Of course, we don't know who's on the next banner, so it's kind of hard to make the call. But I would argue that if Kyo is a favorite of yours, just go ahead and go for him, because you never know when these characters are going to get rerun. And in general, there is a very good shot that you may not see this character again until at minimum the end of the year. So if that is something that you can't live without and you absolutely love this character, you need to make sure that you go in and pick him up. Now, another thing to talk about here is going to be SS Iori. We did a video talking about his overall buffs. This character is absolutely incredible now. If you want to pick him up, I would not blame you. He is a very strong character. He is not going to be a must-have by any stretch of the imagination. But if you want another extremely powerful character on your roster and you want a darkness wielder, then this is going to be the one for you on this banner, because he is really strong now post buff. And in general, this banner is very stacked. It just comes down to what your preferences are. You know, I personally decided to go ahead and skip this banner, mainly because I am more excited for characters that could be coming out down the road. But if you're a fan of either of these guys, then I could definitely tell you with confidence that you will be happy with either of them if you pick them up. And Kyo is definitely the better of the two, in case you're wondering and you've been living under a rock. So that's pretty much it. Kyo, one of the best DPSs, if not the best DPS in the game. Then you've got Iori here coming in and just being one of the stronger SS buffed characters that we've had in a while. And in general, very good stuff on this banner. You'll love to see it. So that's pretty much going to do it for everything that's going to be ending this week, you guys. There's a lot of stuff going to be ending over the weekend. We do have some things that will be lasting and staying with us for the next several days. But in general, that is going to do it for the things you need to know about the things that are going to be going away. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and have a little fun real quick. So we have, if you have not been logging in, I'm sorry, but you would have noticed that if you have been, that we are getting these tickets here for this EX banner. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and redeem my fighter summon tickets. I don't really have a lot of faith, because in the general, we don't have any luck when it comes to these tickets. You never know what'll happen. It would be very clutch to get an EX Kyo because I don't have him. And yeah, like I've already established in this video, he's going to be leaving over this weekend. But in general, I'm going to go ahead and redeem these because we've got the full 10. We don't quite have the full 10 yet for the battle cards, so I'm going to save that until tomorrow. And I'll probably throw that into a video on Monday. But figured since we're talking about this stuff today anyway, we'd go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead, redeem our tickets, see if we get lucky. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? We'll just pull the band-aid and get it done. We got red. We don't get Kyo. And yeah, that's our ticket luck. So anyway, you guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you all found it informative. Again, make sure that you guys go in here and get this stuff done this weekend, because it will be ending over the weekend. So you need to make sure that you guys get this finished up. With all that out of the way, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Let me know in the comments section if you decide to go in on the banner last minute, what you ended up getting. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. You all take care. Peace.
Continue.